Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. Let's call court to order. Today is Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Friday, November 3rd, 2023 at 10:30 a.m.
Thank you. All right, let's stand break for a moment of silence, and then we'll have a pledge to the flag led by Veteran Service Officer Steve Hernandez.
Please join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. At this time, if any members of the public want to speak to the court on business matters, please do so at this time. All right, seeing none, we will go to proclamations and resolutions. And we've got a proclamation recognizing December the 5th as Tree of Angels Day in McLennan County. And is someone here to receive the, okay? Are you Sharon? Or Shannon?
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody with you that you want to introduce?
Yes, Edie and Bill Carson.
All right, we all come forward then.
Oh, I'll let her do it. I'll take photos.
Okay. All right, and I'll ask Commissioner Smith to read the proclamation into the minutes.
Yeah, have a seat. Go ahead and have a seat, yeah. Yes, my pleasure, Judge. Go ahead.
I was just gonna.
Okay, I'll wait till you get up there.
We'll just face this way for right now, and picture taken, we'll turn around.
All right.
All right. A proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizing December 5th as Tree of Angels Day in McLennan County. Whereas, recognizing that the holiday season is a difficult time for victims and their families, the Tree of Angels has become a memorable tradition observed in McLennan County. The event honors surviving victims of violent crimes and their families by allowing them to bring an angel to place on a special Christmas tree. And whereas the compassion inherent in this symbolic tradition that shines out from the hearts of our community, which strives to support these individuals, can help to alleviate some of the trauma, pain, and sorrow felt by all of those whose lives have been touched by violent crime. And whereas the Commissioners Court of McLennan County wishes to recognize crime victims, their families, and those who work to prevent crime. As a county, our continuing goal is to ensure swift and effective justice and to bring healing to victims and their loved ones. And therefore, be it proclaimed that the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizes December the 5th, 2023 as Tree of Angels Day and urges citizens of McLennan County to participate in the Tree of Angels event. Be it further proclaimed, a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Witness our hand and seal this 7th day of November, 2023. And it's signed by our county judge and all of the commissioners.
All right, thank you. If you'd like to speak to the court on anything regarding this.
I thank y'all very much for this proclamation, and I know that y'all have a meeting that morning, but if anyone can attend, we would definitely love to see y'all there. So thank y'all.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And then picture time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
very much. All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner, for reading that.
Okay. My pleasure, Judge.
Okay, is there a motion to approve that proclamation?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank y'all. All right, under D2 is a resolution in support of McLennan County establishing a community Wildfire Protection Plan. We'll call on Commissioner Jones.
So this is the, this is the resolution of the Commissioners Court supporting, establishing a community wildfire protection plan. And it just states that we'll move forward with the process of the wildfire protection plan and pursue any grant funding that might be possible with that plan.
All right,
So I'd make a motion that we approve this proclamation.
Second.
have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, under the consent agenda, there's one recommended pull, which is E3A, HR matter for the sheriff's office. Is there any other pulls recommended by the court?
No, sir.
All right, if no other, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the aforementioned pull?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you. I'd like to hold E3A. I'd like to go to items M5. This is City of McGregor presentation by the City of McGregor representatives on tax increment reinvestment zone number 2, created on October 30th, 2023, including presenting the preliminary project and finance plan. And this is a report and not an action item, but we will approve the report for recording purposes. Good morning.
Morning, Judge. Commissioners. My name is Craig Farmer. I'm working with Patty Knutson Joyner, who is Zooming in from Houston. She was not able to make it today because of illness. With me, I've got City Manager McGregor, Kevin Evans, and also Brian Lemillier, easy to say, who's in charge of their development and planning. If you could, well, you can leave it like that, or you do the screen view. Go ahead. Next slide, please. It says tonight's discussion, that's not a mistake. We're presenting to you what we presented to the City Council, so we know where we are. There were 6 items we went through. We created TERS number 2. The council did. I'll show you the boundaries in a little bit. We have a preliminary project and financing plan. It's to help promote the central area of McGregor. There's a board of directors that'll be appointed. There's a preliminary project and financing plan that was adopted. We're presenting to you the final plan. This says it's going to be adopted in late November, and then hopefully there will be interlocal agreements with other public partners. Those will actually come before you and anybody else in December, not November. Next slide, please. Our team, Jim Sabonis is with Hilltop Securities. I've mentioned Patty and myself. McCall Parkhurst is the legal advisor, Jeff Gulbus, Haley and Olson, Charlie Olson. I think most people know him. With the Waco Chamber, Chris Collins has been assisting us, and also Jed Walker with Walker Partners on the engineering side. Next slide, please. You deal with a lot of TERSs, but basically it's a tool to finance development, public infrastructure within a defined area, but it doesn't negatively impact the existing taxpayers because everybody still has to pay their taxes. There's nothing forgiven. Next slide, please. A couple of important points here just as reminders. The taxes that are paid currently within the boundary of this district will continue to be paid. That's called the base year value, and the taxes on that will always be paid and will not go into the TERS. What will go into the TERS is any incremental taxes above and beyond the base year values. And the way it's looked at is that because of the public improvements, the development accelerates, and you have those taxes available to you a lot sooner. And so you put that money into the actual TERS public improvements. The personal and business inventory property taxes do not go into a TERS, so any additional taxes on that is not a part of it, and there's typically quite a bit of that. And then, of course, at the end of the TERS, then all of that's available, the ad valorem taxes. So next slide, I'll show you the boundary. If anybody has a question, just stop me. We can,
But that's 40-year?
this is 40 years proposed at this point, yes, sir.
And Craig?
Yes. Oh,
May I-
Patty.
Hi, this is Patty. The zone is the 40-year zone is allowed by the legislature, but the way the plan is written, and at any time the plan is completed, the term of the plan can be terminated by the city council and its partners. So we're taking advantage of the statute to give us the maximum time, but at the time that the plan is completed, the zone itself can be terminated. So it doesn't mean it has to be a 40-year zone.
Understand?
Thank you, Craig.
Thank Patty. So the boundary, as you can see, it extends to the east along 84 and north along 317, and then picks up South Main Street, the central core. The areas to the east and to the north have substantial infrastructure problems developing to the point of it's impeding housing development. This TERS is more housing than the previous one you saw, TERS number 1, which was the industrial district with SpaceX and NOF and the others. The public improvements will be utilized to increase housing and to rehabilitate the downtown. Next slide, please. What we're proposing at this point is about $20 million of the first phase. Roads, about $1 million. Water would be about $7 million. Wastewater is $7 million in that category. And then other infrastructure, downtown and other improvements would be about $4.5 million. For a total of right around $20 million. We expect over the 10 years with what we've projected in the way of development that we'd have about an extra $16 million available for public improvement projects. So we're thinking the first phases would allow us to do about $36 million worth of bond issues and things. We were asked the question about financing of that. Obviously, if the TERS doesn't progress as rapidly because of interest rates and other things, you can't sell as much debt and can't do as many improvements. If it's faster, as Patty did say, then it can be terminated early. Next slide, please. This one is too small. It's the individual categories, and we'll make those available to you. Next slide, please. So the TERS 2 board, you currently have a TERS number 1 board, and I believe the judge is a representative, and then Commissioner Perry comes quite often as his appointee. It meets about once or twice a year. This TERS number 2 board, we're proposing to have 9 members rather than 11 members. We'd have 2 McGregor City Council members, 2 appointees, 2 representatives of the Economic Development Corporation, the state representative and the state senator are their designees, and then a McLennan County appointee if there's participation, and the college district if there's participation. Next slide, please. And the TERS was created, so those 9 positions are to be appointed on the 13th of November. And then we'll have a TERS board meeting number 2 subsequently after that. So eligible improvements, we have broad categories. It can be just about anything in the way of public infrastructure. The historic rail depot and transit rail type improvements are also eligible. We're not proposing that at this time. PUC-related improvements, housing supply and development. SpaceX is actually, in NOF and Messer and others are actually supportive of trying to get additional housing. They're having trouble finding housing around the McGregor area. And then finally, historic restoration, again, of the downtown and some of those improvements. Next slide, please.
How much money was in the rehabilitation or prehistoric restoration?
We had put a category of about $4 million, but there's, I believe we're including a water line also down Main Street and some other things. So it's a broad category. Not all of that will go towards historic. Quite a bit of it's going to be towards utilities and other things.
Yeah.
We have a 100-year-old water line in the middle of Maine that needs to be replaced about 50 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. And then they'll have to build a statue for you.
Nope.
It would be in there somewhere.
I'm thinking you'd look much better as a statue.
Well, you wouldn't use as much material, that's for sure.
What are you saying?
I'm fine.
Moving right along. So again, the term of the TERS is 40 years, and it can be less than that if things accelerate rapidly. So it's to 2063 for all participating taxing jurisdictions. At this point, we're assuming 50% participation. I know the industrial one was higher than that, but we had some major threshold type industries we were trying to attract or expand. This one, we're proposing 50%, so 50% of all those additional ad valorem would go to the taxing entities. And we think over time it'd be about 150 million in possible TERS project improvements and financing. We have spreadsheets in here, and we're just introducing them today because your financial people can get with our financial advisors, and they can explain it in great detail, as well as Patty Knutson, and get into some of that. As you know, with inflation and everything else, that takes a pretty good bite out of that. Next slide, please. And Ms. Knutson, you want to go ahead and talk about this one?
You bet. So as required under the statute, we look at a financial projection of what the value capture, that it's going to call it the capture to price value could be. And of course, our crystal ball right now for McGregor is about a 10-year horizon. So we have identified our base year will be at January 1st, 2023. As Craig said, all of the taxes that you collect currently within proposed Zone 2 will continue to be collected by the county. Our base year value going forward and projected TERS capture to price value per year are projected under TERS increment. And those are based on projects that the city knows that are in process, or there's plating activity that will lead for this development to happen. The revenue is based on the participating tax rate of 50% of the city of McGregor, or 43 cents. If McLennan does participate, it would be at 50% at 16 cents, $100 assessed valuation. By statute, we're required to project administrative expenses to manage the zone. And as Craig said, the meetings will be 2 to 3 times a year unless there's a development agreements or other things that require the city and the board to act sooner. And then the net revenue available is less the admin costs is what is available for the zone, which is how we get to a projected value over the life of the zone at 40 years of an estimated 151 million. And that has to include your financing costs as well when you start to sell the bond issues. And again, our initial short-term projections are based on what the city knows that they need, based on Judd Walker's evaluation. After 10 years, we're only projecting a 3% appreciation, because we want to be conservative in our projections of what we're doing. And like I said, generally what happens is when the zones get the infrastructure to start to serve the property, then the developers can start developing, because many times the small tracts of land do not have sufficient revenue or sufficient balance sheet to build the water lines and sewer lines that might need to be extended. And there's a couple of projects we can talk about at the Cotton Belt, which is a long ways from the current line. Next slide. And the other obligation that we have by the legislature is to project what our debt issuance would look like. And this, again, is a very conservative schedule done by Jim Sabonis. And these are revenue bonds that the TERS sells, or the city sells, based on the increment that is created. If it's faster in terms of land development, it could be a bigger bond issue, but based on the conservative takedown, they're talking about a $1.2 million in project funds and a par amount about $1.3 million in 2024, about $4 million in 2025, another $4 million in 2026, And then we're only projecting a $2.7 million bond issue in 2027. This makes up these early 10-year periods make up that 36 million that Craig was talking about. And then Jim is proposing a conservative future bond issues of 17 million, but with no defined years. And again, there'll be an annual report done by the TERS. It's done by the city council, and it's also required by the controller. And that any participating jurisdictions such as McLennan County will get those annual reports and updates on a regular basis. So that's how we are projecting out to the potential of 150 million over that 40-year period. Any questions?
How much are they proposing to borrow in 24?
24, they're proposing a $1.2 million project fund, and with issuing costs and underwriting, a $1.3 million bond issue.
And again, this is the preliminary plan, so it still has to be approved by the TERS board and the city council. So we'll be finalizing that over the next month. And I do want to point out, just to make sure it's clear, the McGregor tax rate is 54 cents, and so 50% of that's 27 cents, and 50% of yours would be 16 cents, so that ends up being a 43 cent per hundred tax rate given back to the TERS.
Next slide. So, as in when the county sells debt or cities sell debt, we have debt service coverage. It's about 1.3 times the need to make sure that we always have funds available to meet our debt service obligation. So this schedule provides. I'm sorry. Did somebody have a question?
No?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So we've got, based on the projections in the short term, we have these net TERS revenues available for projects. And the other thing that the zone allows you to do, and you probably know this from your other zones, is there may be pay-as-you-go projects that don't require debt, and then there will be projects that where we sell debt for some of those major infrastructure projects. Those usually don't work well to be pay-as-you-go until the zone has more maturity. So that's why you're seeing about 6 years worth of proposed debt service payments to get those $36 million worth of infrastructure jobs done, so that we can then generate the land development to support additional projects. Any questions?
Is there, I don't know if you can even structure them this way or not, but where there's a higher percentage of abatement on the front end and a lower percentage on the back end, that way you get more money earlier. Is that a structure that's ever been, that's used or considered?
Are you talking about participation levels?
Yeah,
being Yes, we actually have several zones in other areas that we do where the participation is a little higher in the early years, and then it tailors down as the zone matures, so that when you have big projects and you need to serve this vacant land, that is one way to accelerate the rollout of that infrastructure. Right. So that is a potential. That is currently not what we're proposing, but we certainly could take a look at that with you guys.
Well, I was just thinking because there's so few dollars generated or able to leverage in the first few years, it costs so much to do everything that might help. I'm not speaking for the court. I'm just asking a question, but I would say that the court's always been interested in creative ways of financing and those kind of things, that we understand that. And so just open it up, and we're not making a decision today anyway, but
No,
for discussion purposes.
we'll certainly take a look at that, Judge.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do have the continuing issue of gap financing. It usually takes about 2 to 2.5 years for the tax money to get there after
Yeah.
you start building something.
True.
So, McGregor's aware of that, and they've actually been talking to developers and others that might help finance it on the front end and be reimbursed out of the TERS
Yeah, that's, okay. All right.
Very good.
Next slide, please. So we're open to additional questions from the court.
So again, this is a preliminary plan. We've already had a couple minor corrections in the document. We've given that to y'all. Over the next month, we'd like to negotiate with your staff and your attorney to take and your financial advisors to take a look at it. We'd be coming back with a final plan. The TERS board will have to, they'll have one meeting to receive it and look at it and go through it in detail. In the meantime, we'll upgrade it and take a look at the different percentages and things, and took it to them to a second meeting. We have additional meetings if we need them. Then once they recommend it to the City Council of McGregor, we think that'll be November the 27th, I think was that date.
Right, the 27th.
And so then at that point, we'd like to visit with you again about an interlocal agreement and participation.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. And then, yeah, go right ahead.
I just have a quick question. So the 50% of our rate, does the 50% stick? So no matter what our rate is, it would always be 50%, or is that 16 cents what sticks?
Always 50%.
We
Oh, it's
usually,
50% or whatever. Okay.
we usually base it on a 50% of the rate, because when you go to sell debt, you need to be able to have defined revenue that you can project what you're going to sell. And one of the things that happened in Zone 1 is with the rev cap that we live with now, we actually lost about 10 cents, 100. So I think if Jim were here, he would say it is best to go with 50% of the rate. If the rate goes up, it's still 50%. If the rate goes down, it's still 50% of the rate.
Thank you.
Or whatever the percentage annually is set at.
Or the
but-
percentage annually that is part of your agreement.
And for introduction purposes, that was Frances Bartley. She's our auditor. that
Oh,
asked that-
okay.
Asked that question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
But
Okay.
yes, we got to take into account the rollback provisions, the revenue caps, because a lot of people are having to reduce their tax rate as inflation and
Right.
growth takes place.
Understand. Well, I think all of us are aware that the jobs in the McGregor area has outpaced the housing
Right.
by a long shot. Happened almost overnight, seems like. And it needs to be addressed, and this seems like a reasonable approach to address it. So, any other comments or anything?
I've been working 12 years for that overnight.
Yeah, I know you have. And on a lot of other things too. Commissioners, any other questions or anything? Anyone have any? Oh, sir. Okay. Thank y'all very much for your report. I'll entertain a motion to approve the report for recording purposes.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, have a good
Thanks,
day.
Kevin. Thanks, Craig.
All right, next I have to go to item M2A and B. This is discussion or action regarding purchase replacement of tornado siren and related matters regarding the city of Lacey Lakeview and regarding the unincorporated area of Belmont. So I think Will and Ryan, Scott Johnson will be talking about this, I assume.
Sure. So if they're not, is anybody on?
Yeah, there's Ryan.
All right.
Morning, Ryan.
All right.
Morning, Judge. How are y'all?
Nah.
Good.
So, we identified a while ago that there are some holes in the county's warning systems, and we've been doing some research. Lacey Lakeview has been on our system for quite some time, and we were able to sit down with them and have a productive conversation about what it takes to get their siren systems back up and running. I believe the county is splitting costs with them is the matter that is before you at the moment. Once that is done, Lacey Lakeview will return to our system, and we will move forward with the Elmont project, which discussions will be had with them about exactly what that looks like to be able to help bring public safety warning systems to their community.
Okay, and then, I guess, we can determine what part covers and maybe population or, I don't know, maybe space or square miles or whatever, on the unincorporated area relative to the incorporated area. Will we be able to determine that? I mean, if you're gonna do
Yes,
your
sir.
study at Elmont, that would be part of that.
Yep.
Yes, sir. And it's important to remember that a siren only has about a 1 mile radius for its coverage. It's certainly not a panacea, but it will go a long way for helping folks that don't currently have much out that way.
Okay,
So what we discovered is that the people in Elmont could at some point could hear the siren in Lacey Lakeview, and
if they were on that side.
if they yeah
Close.
yeah, and so it quit. It broke down, and so this would repair that the Lacey Lakeview one, and then. And the proposal is to split the cost with Lacey Lakeview, and then add a siren in Elmont,
Okay,
where there's
and then,
there's concentration of homes,
right,
but they're Elmont's unincorporated.
right,
There's no weird
yeah, but it's got a population density there that we
yeah,
need to take
right,
into consideration.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess there are a couple of things. One is how we fund it. And I know you'd ask about ARPA funding, and we're looking at that. It's a public safety issue, and it needs to be addressed. One thing, setting the precedence of dealing with an incorporated city that has a tax base, but I don't think there's any issue with the Elmont side of it, and the fact that Lacey Lakeview will partner on their portion of it. It seems like to me we ought to be able to get there.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
right. I mean,
And I certainly agree. I would like, at some point in the future, for Ryan to speak to us, and maybe just for my own edification, maybe my own understanding, how our warning system is set up countywide now, and do we partner with other cities? Have we partnered with other cities? Are we fully set up throughout the county in unincorporated areas? Are there other areas that need to be looked at? I'm just not familiar with it enough to know where we are with our warning system, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Ryan. And I'd like to know how we stand up with the entirety of it.
Right.
So Commissioner, at a later date, if you needed more specific information on that, I'd be happy to give that. In the short term, kind of a shorter version of it, the City of Waco's system was set up with all the Waco sirens, Lacey Lakeview sirens, and Belmead's sirens, and one in Beverly Hills. There is no county-wide system, as most of the cities in the county, the incorporated cities, have their own systems. And that's actually something that we like to see because, we'll use West, for example, because I know they have a system that works for them. They need to be able to set that off for their own community to kind of face with what they have going on, because we're far away here in Waco. And I know West has sirens, Crawford has sirens, just about every population center that is an incorporated city in the county already has one. So there currently is no county-wide kind of incorporated system.
Okay. But I know there are some dense populations in our unincorporated areas throughout the county. A lot of housing, a lot of new developments going on. And so my interest would also be, how are they being protected? How are they being covered out in those areas, if we're talking about? Now, I understand sparse population versus dense, but there are some developments going on in different areas of the county that are creating some dense populations. And so I would be interested in knowing where we are with those.
And plus, we have other forms of notification too.
yeah,
that
there's
are out there too.
right,
that-
there's the Everbridge.
Yeah,
That's
every
correct.
bridge.
Yeah, you get it on the phone, you get it on the computer,
Yeah,
you get it lots of places, so, and those are
That
great.
is our notification method of choice right now. It can reach everybody. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not dependent on you being able to hear. These sirens are technically outdoor warning sirens. They were designed at a time where folks spent more time outside. They're not technically meant to be heard indoors. If you can hear your siren indoors, all the better, but they were not designed for that purpose.
Okay,
Yeah. Everbridge is really better,
It's great. Yeah,
and so.
it really is.
I think for the county
there's
residents,
still a
our best
use
bet,
for sirens.
economically speaking as well, is to really push to get into that system. Because it's free to the end user, it makes financial sense for the county, it's highly effective. That would be our recommendation for making sure that those people in those
Yeah.
rural areas are covered.
But if we're talking about adding to unincorporated areas, which is what we're talking about here, which I certainly don't disagree with, I think it's needed, do we need to look at all the unincorporated areas, I guess is what I'm saying.
you mean for?
I think you would want to do it more strategically. We had talked about, putting sirens, on our new radio towers. I don't think that's, I think we kind of squashed that idea. It may not be as, efficient, where some of the road and bridge barns are. And then there's some different technology using, solar and things like that are available also too. I think you would just, if the need arises, if we find, like you said, areas that aren't covered, then, I think it would be a good idea to address.
Okay,
Just,
we can look at that.
I don't think you can have too much coverage.
Yeah,
that's true. No.
When the event happens, there's no such thing as too much coverage.
well, and, there's so many ways to communicate and you get communication now. I know one thing, if there's a cow out in Axtell and you have Facebook on, you'll know about it. And so, anyhow.
Yeah, there were, unfortunately during people were putting things on Facebook during the explosion in West. I mean, that was, it was,
I would just like to see sometime in the future, maybe a map, a coverage map for McLennan County, where they're located in cities and then in unincorporated areas, where they're located and where they're not located, and we could look at population density and maybe decide whether or not we need to, look at some other type of warning system for them, if sometime in the future, Ryan, if that's possible. I know there's a lot on the plate
It's
right now.
completely
but
possible. We'd be happy to do that for you.
It's a thought.
Is the Lacey Lakeview system down right now? Or is it just not functioning properly?
I'd have to, I don't want to delay the meeting any further. I'd have to go look that
Okay.
up.
Well,
Under the agreement, the city of Waco, our system, we will set them off, but it is incumbent upon these jurisdictions to do the maintenance of it themselves.
okay. All right.
Well, and I don't want to delay anything that needs to be done today. If we need to take action on something today, that's certainly the court's prerogative. If that's what needs to happen to get us where we need to be, whatever the court.
Well, if it's not urgent, it'd be good if all the commissioners were here because they all have communities, like you do. If it's urgent, that's a different thing. But it does affect, if we do 50% for Lacey Lakeview, we could be asked to do 50%.
We could be asked for other communities, certainly.
Other two, so I think it affects the whole court. So if it's not a problem, I would recommend or make a motion that we defer to the next meeting and in the meantime, and bring the other two commissioners on here up to speed on the issue so we can act on it. Is that all right with you?
yeah, and maybe we can,
I want to get the funding piece down.
right, and that's what I was gonna say, is
Yeah.
that we can,
No more about
we
ARPA funding.
can, perfect where the funding would come from.
But if the court decides that this is something we need to do, and ARPA's not the tool, I'm for doing it if we had to come out of general fund or whatever. Because it is a life safety issue.
Absolutely.
But we'll look at ARPA.
These aren't, I'm not gonna hate to say this, but these aren't huge amounts.
Yeah, I know it, I know.
So they're, I mean, it's.
You're right.
Yeah, not huge amounts, but they yield big results.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if there's no objection, I'd like to make a motion, we defer to the next meeting, and any questions anybody has, let's get them out now, so we can act at the next meeting.
You bet.
So there's a motion on the table.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, Ryan, while you're on, do you want to go ahead and give a report on item M9, which is discussion or action regarding the 2024 total eclipse? And everyone in this, that's in court today, heard this yesterday at the city-county meeting, but just briefly go over it, and because there are some things that are specific to the county that I want to bring up in that, but just give a kind of quick overview about your thinking.
So the long and short of it is there is a potential that the county could see an enormous amount of people coming into our community from out of town. It's hard to kind of put your finger on those numbers, but other communities have been seeing almost a doubling of their population. Now we're well over 200,000 people in our county, so I'm not sure if a doubling will occur, but it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility. So we've been having several coordination meetings with county departments, other jurisdictions in their public safety offices, and we will have further meetings as the event gets closer. That is April 8th, for those of you who don't already know. We could have some strained resources. We're not really sure quite how much, but we're going to continue to kind of plan through that, and we're looking at all manners of how we might be able to respond to it. I think from a county perspective, land usage is going to be the most important part. A lot of folks, if they want to rent out their fields, what does that look like? How can we do that safely while respecting property rights and things of that sort? So the long and short of it is there might be an awful lot of folks from out of town coming in the week of the 8th.
Okay. And then one thing, the Trib did a story on it, but I think, and I'm sure they'll want to do additional stories, but from an emergency management perspective, on a guideline of, of what a citizen here might experience, and how can they avoid being tied up in an emergency issue or those kind of things. And, one would be, if you don't have business to do downtown, you might want to stay off streets, but still do business downtown, just wait till the next day or
don't travel.
the week before. And then the only other thing, just thinking about the county and Road and Bridge, that, Road and Bridge might consider, this could be a discussion in our retreat, possible standby, on that day, stand by to be additional help for emergency situations or things like that. I don't know, I can see where traffic being one of the biggest things in it, that, a wreck on a street is a big deal to get the vehicle out of the way if there's lots of traffic.
Judge, I think one of the biggest issues for us out in the unincorporated areas is going to be parking on the roads and people standing out on the roads. People are going to find them a good place, park on the side of the road and be walking around. And I could see county roads with cars parked up and down.
Okay. All right. So anyhow, we can,
I'd like Cody, can you speak, we're gonna, I think, budget-wise, the jail, I mean, you're talking, there's when you have a mass event like a gathering like this, you're gonna have more, you and I had talked about, we're gonna need more people at the jail. I think you're thinking all hands on deck that day.
Yes, and Captain Nixon and I actually met this morning to discuss kind of preliminary options for us internally to kind of organize our resources and then project, potential issues to lead up to a meeting with DPS that we tentatively have lined up. And in the future, we'll come back and kind of discuss with, other stakeholders, things that we're projecting. We talked about, the airports, and Sean, you may be able to speak on this, or already booked with the slots allotted, and what that may look like for Lake Waco as well.
Did they come up with a plan? Do they have a reservation plan for the airports or slots? You were saying slots allotted?
We had a meeting with Ryan several weeks ago, and the tarmac is already booking up and filling up just for planes coming in on that day. But we not only have to look at that day, we have to look at 3 to 4 days ahead. So we're looking at probably a 4 to 5 day event for the area.
In preliminary,
Is TSTC available for that type of date as far as tarmac parking, planes coming in there to?
You don't get as much private traffic coming into TSTC as you do into Waco.
Right.
Simply because of L3. They limit what
They
they have
limit,
coming in there.
I didn't know if because of the event, if they might.
Yeah, I don't believe they will open it up for that, but.
Well, I could see the jail, I know that when it comes to people parking on the side of the road and if they're illegally parked, that becomes an issue. That's an enforcement issue. I know you run, when you do that, you run 27, 29s, and if they come back
Yeah,
or something,
problems.
you get a hit, they're gone to jail. I could see where there'd need to be a lot more personnel available
Right.
on those dates.
Some of the
Maybe not
problems-
just that one day.
And some of the problems we've discussed, like with Ryan, in events that happened back in 2017 at the last eclipse, which was a much shorter eclipse, people running out of fuel, and that was something we might talk to y'all about, y'all's crews, y'all's road and bridge crews possibly being able to help with some of that, because that then blocks a roadway when you have a car that has no fuel in it,
Yeah. Well, I know our, and I think your road and bridge is sitting on the interstate also, isn't it, right off the interstate?
Right off. We're not.
You're right there off.
literally
I mean,
mile and a
I can
half.
see our people staying there and staging right there and responding to emergency needs, as you're saying.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea to have, if the sheriff's department needs a staging area, like the road and bridge barns,
And just to kind of put things in perspective, our bomb squad was requested up in Arlington last week for the Texas Ranger Parade, the World Series Parade. That event was planned in 2 days, so we went up and assisted. They had over 700,000 people show up in an event that was planned in 2 days. This event has had a century to plan.
I understood they thought there were gonna be about 250,000, they ended up with 7/10 yeah.
Right. So we really need to be looking at this.
Yeah. In regards to county functions, Judge Coley's working on this, Dustin, about not having a jury. That's a Monday, so not having a jury call.
That's a great idea.
And be a non-jury week, and they can schedule other, judicial functions without bringing a lot of people in here to help there. I think there's still gonna be people that are wanting to come into to the clerk's offices for business, county clerk, tax office and those.
Is
kind of-
Ryan still on?
No, he had to step off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Commissioner Jones can attest to this. AgriLife had a great handout, which I think for the citizen out there would be excellent.
Okay.
And I don't know how hard or how many of those they could print that could be placed in strategic locations throughout restaurants, different places where people go for people to pick up and have. But it had some great information in it, I thought.
We certainly can put something like that on our website. I think it'd be a great idea to
Yeah.
have that document on the
It's a
on our
four-page,
website.
but it's well done.
And
I mean,
I think, a planned event, like I think the city's looking at some planned events, Baylor's looking at planned events. Anytime we can have a planned event where we can funnel people to a planned event, where they're not just doing their own thing, we can control that and plan that much better.
Right.
Plan resources for that. So just something to think.
Like you mentioned, we do mutual aid to surround it, and this might be a time to ask for mutual aid
Right,
for folks that aren't, or communities that aren't in this path,
right.
as well as far as
Right.
bringing additional folks in. I mean, I can see where, bringing outside record trucks in, or tow trucks,
Porta potties.
Yeah, I'll
Because
let,
didn't they say that there's not a porta potty available right now to rent during that weekend?
From in the state.
In the state?
That's what was said in the meeting.
I need to recommission my outhouse.
But,
Hunting camp.
but to your question and point, Commissioner Jones, we are working on an enforcement plan for, as many resources we can pull from the sheriff's office to be available to respond to issues out in the county. And then we're also working on a corrections plan if we do see an influx from all the agencies, having to make arrests over that short period of time.
Well, if you have that many, I'm afraid if you have that many people, there will be an influx.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
It's just something else to handle.
All right, is there a motion?
Thank you,
to
guys.
Approve that report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, I'd like to go back to the consent agenda for the pool under E3A HR matter for the sheriff's office. This has to do with, well, I'll let Anna, you on.
I am, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning. If you will, we'll kind of go over this for us, please.
Yes, so I have here a request from the sheriff's office to reclassify a a lieutenant position under the sheriff's office. They'd like to reclassify this position to a sergeant position. That is a lower classification. The current pay grade is an S57. The requested pay grade is S56. It is also a lower budget. The current budget is $87,222. The recommended budget, or the budget that is in line with that rank, the sergeant rank, is $80,615. The position in question is position number 807 or 807. And the reason behind this is they're really wanting to consolidate leadership for their criminal investigation division. And there's a team at CID for short of about 12 individual deputies or investigators. And they want to split that supervision with more direct supervision of a sergeant rather than indirectly supervised by a lieutenant.
Okay. Any questions?
To me, the hierarchy structure makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So my motion would be to approve the request, Judge.
All right.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you. I'd like to go on down the agenda under items F, under bids, RFPs, RFQs, quotations for goods and services under F1. F1 is authorization and recommendations. F1A is regarding the Chapel Road improvement. And Cinnamon, are you going to give this report?
Yes.
Okay.
We would like to defer this item until the next agenda on November 21st, 2023. They're completing up some
All right.
paperwork for that.
All right. I'll make a motion to defer.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Under F1B is regarding the McLennan County East Rayner Road low water crossing improvements. Cinnamon?
Sealed bids for furnishing all labor, materials, and equipment and performing all work related to East Rayner Road. Low water crossing improvements were, were received by closing date and time Thursday, October 12, 2023 at 2 p.m. There were 2 respondents, WR Utilities and Excavation LLC, and their bid amount submitted was $311,850 with a 45-day to complete work. And Mecco Contracting LLC, their bid amount was $314, $314 $14,150 with a 90-day to complete. It is recommended that McLennan County Commissioners Court grant the award for East Rayner Road low water crossing improvements to WR Utilities and Excavation LLC. The estimated completion time frame is 45 days with a base bid of $297,000 and a performance and payment bond of $14,850 for a total amount of $311,850. We make, oh, go ahead.
Well, Zane's looked at this and he's good with it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, passed. Thank you. Under G is contracts and interlocal agreements, memorandums of understanding regarding the administrative service agreement with United Health Services. Anna?
Yes, sir. I have here a renewal request for the administrative service agreement under United Healthcare. They're administering our medical and prescription programs. We were under an initial 3-year term, and so this is the first formal financial renewal for United Healthcare. The agreement was reviewed by myself, by Hub International, our consultant, and our legal counsel as well. And the majority of the items remained the same compared to our initial agreement. So most of our administrative fees remain at the same rate. They're also including the wellness allowance, again, at the same amount, $200,000. There were a couple of increases to rates. I outlined them there for the court to review. The first is the behavioral health solution and United Claim fiduciary service fee. So that did increase from $625 to $694 per employee per month. And then we have an increase to our variable copay administration of 15 cents to 45 cents as well per employee per month. But you can see that is very offset by the tremendous increase in the pharmacy rebates that are included in this service agreement. They're almost tripling going into 2024. And so that'll be the last item I outlined for the court on the table. And so both HR and our Hub consultant recommend accepting the service agreement from United Healthcare that was presented for 2024. And the term would be from January 1st of 2024 to December 31st.
Okay, any questions?
Anna,
Yes, sir.
who pays this now? Increase from 625 to 695, 694, that's county paying that increase, correct?
Right, it's from our fund, but it's
Okay. Right.
heavily funded by these rebates that we outlined here.
And so that's why, I guess that's where I'm leading to. The rebates offset the increases that are outlined in 1 and 2.
Correct.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, under G2 regarding the second professional consulting contract with Lockwood, Andrews, and Newman, authorization of a second amendment. This item was deferred last meeting.
Judge, if it's okay, we would request it be deferred again.
Okay, all right.
Motion to defer.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you. Under G3 is action, rescinding previously approved agreements. Let's see, right-of-way funds. G3A, no action needed there. Under E3A, regarding Farm to Market Road 107, so let's see, Zane, are you gonna talk about these
Zane, this is a good thing, isn't it?
It is a good thing. It saves the taxpayers dollars.
Okay.
With McLennan County anyways. So we recently had approved, previously had approved a contract with TxDOT to put in our portion of the funding for some roadway improvements. That would be on State Highway 317 from McLennan County to Coryell County line. And then also on Farm to Market 434 from to the Falls County line with McLennan County. Anyway, so the state law has changed and it's no longer requiring the county to put their portion or match in with the agreement. So this item simply rescinds that previously approved agreement with TxDOT, and TxDOT will continue with those roadway improvements, but the county will not have to put in their portion of the match. So at this time, it's recommended that these previously approved agreements are rescinded.
All right, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you, Zane.
Thank you.
All right, under G4, authorization of equipment purchase agreements and sale orders with Kirby Smith Machine Incorporated. Commissioner Smith, you're not kin to Kirby Smith, right?
No rebates, no kickbacks.
Okay.
No, we're trying to purchase some equipment, and so this was a motion to, or ask that the court approve the sales orders.
All right, and,
It's a great all tree shear.
okay. All right,
And so I would make the motion. I would make that as a motion.
Second.
have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. All right, G4, B is regarding pneumatic Tyler roller for Road and Bridge Precinct 1.
Same thing, Judge, when we shear those trees off the road, we want to roll them down real flat. No, that's not what we're going to use it for.
Yeah,
That's not what we're going to use it for. But we do need it and would ask the court's permission for that. And I would make that in the form of a motion also.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you. Action on G5, action to rescind previously approved Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Forces agreement ratified by the Commissioners Court on September 5th of 2023. Call on David Ives.
Yes, Commissioners. We had asked the court to approve an order. The feds had extra money for salary reimbursement. We got that. We weren't sure if we'd get it back to them in time, but we certainly wanted to make that attempt to do so, to get those funds reimbursed for those salaries. It didn't work out to where we got that agreement to them in the amount of time that they needed to expend those funds before the end of the year. So that agreement is no longer necessary. We now have a new agreement that we've entered in with them for the new fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's the pleasure of the court? Is there a motion to rescind the agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Under G6, ratification of commercial equipment protection plan with Kirby Smith Machinery. This is for a reclaimer on Road and Bridge Precinct 4. This is extended service protection plans that we often do on this more expensive equipment, which is a reclaimer totaling $399,624.80. Is there a motion to ratify the commercial equipment protection plan?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. G7 is ratification agreement of Ruthman Reachmaster aerial lift display for trade show. TJ?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So this is an agreement that we put together with Ruthman Reachmaster, the company that we purchased the lift from. They had already previously had it set up to take the unit to a trade show across the country to show it off. So being that there was only one left in the entire country, we went ahead and purchased the unit, and legal has come up with this agreement for them to take it to the trade show and show it off. So everything's been reviewed by Mike and Dustin. The company agreed to our terms and conditions, so we recommend it for approval.
All right, any questions?
TJ, did that agreement include you getting to go with it to the trade show?
No, sir, no, no. I'm gonna stay back home.
Dadgummit. Okay, all right. I would move to approve the ratification.
I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass. Thank you. G8 regarding the non-exclusive license agreement with Indigent Healthcare Solutions for software and data processing services for Health and Services Department. Heather?
Yes, sir. So back during budget, we had discussed some additional services that we could purchase through our new software. And these next four addendums are for those additional services that we discussed and were approved in the FY24 budget. So the first one would be the Medicaid Power Search, and this is a program that runs selected clients through the TMHP database to scrub for any clients that have gone Medicaid so that we can end those services and apply for reimbursement. And that would be 50 cents per client ran through the system monthly, and we generally run about 450 clients through.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through all of them, or do
Yes,
you want to go
ma'am.
one at a time?
If you don't
Okay.
mind, go ahead.
Okay, and the next one is for, this is, let's see,
Remote Eligibility Inquiry Service.
yes,
This is amendment with IHS, which is an online portal.
right, but that doesn't match my notes, remote eligibility.
It's REIS system.
So we call it provider pipeline. Actually, that's not correct. Sorry, I should have proofed this better before.
It's all right. So what do you want?
So
it to do?
actually,
And
so
the-
what's, the lingo is just different. So what we
Yeah.
have is the provider pipeline, and this is an online portal that our providers can go in and check eligibility status for, so they can actually go in with their own set of credentials, log in, and determine if the client is actively on the program or not.
Okay.
And that program runs $250 per month. The third one is just simply a text messaging asset feature within, so that we can send clients with their consent text messages of appointment reminders, program status, that type of thing. And that one runs $50 per month. And then lastly is the Apply IHS software portal. And that's so that clients can go in and actually apply online. And that program runs $275 per month.
Okay. And so you're recommending the court approve these?
Yes, sir. And if you'll recall, 3 of these 4 we have already been utilizing free of charge within our software. And so the only new addition that we'll be implementing will be the online application program.
Okay. All right, and then you'll monitor how effective or how these are working, and if they're not working, you'll change, do something else.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I would make a motion, we approve G8A, B, C, and D.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
G9, authorization of preventative maintenance agreements with Emergency Fire Services. DJ?
Yes, sir. So this is our yearly PM agreement with Emergency Power Services. As you'll notice, the prices didn't go up this year from last year, which is great news. And this has all been captured in our 2024 budget. So we recommend it for approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions for TJ? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with Emergency Fire Services?
So moved.
Second.
That motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Thank you. Under G10, authorization of statement of work agreement with Civics Plus, John Carter. Morning.
Hi, good morning. First of all, I have a correction to this, and the costs, you may realize the total cost doesn't add up there. We had a mistake there. The one-time development cost was listed on the agenda at $995. That's actually $4,800. And then when you plug that in, that does add up. The rest of the numbers are correct.
Okay, the bottom
total
line's
cost-
right, bottom line's right, is what you're saying.
Correct. The
Total
total
cost.
cost is $11,654.40 for year one.
Okay.
So this was approved in the budget, and we feel that this would be a nice companion to the website. And you may notice down there, our mobile device access is actually right at 60%. So more people, in other words, access our website with a tablet or a phone than they do with a computer already. So I think it's time we reached out to them and made that a bit more accessible with this mobile app. The recurring costs after year one would be $6,854.40 for year two, which is just a normal software maintenance cost. And at any time, we can cancel this if it turns out that maybe it's not being utilized, or it just seems that it's not a good use of taxpayer dollars. So this has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, John, if people are already accessing it to the tune of almost 60%, accessing our website using mobile device, what are we adding? What's the difference between that and a mobile app, if they're already accessing the site right now?
So the mobile app, first of all, condenses the site. Anytime they access it, it makes it into a nice condensable view on the phone. Because currently they could access it via the phone, but it might be all distorted. They have to move around quite a bit to get to the data. And the second thing it does is it puts things in mobile app chunks, so that instead of looking around on a website on their phone, they'll have just mobile app buttons to go to, say, the tax collector, or to look up something, or to look at the voting, or whatever information they're looking for. So it's really about ease of use and accessibility to the data.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? No other questions. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you. Under G11 is authorization and renewal of annual subscription agreement with Oracle America Incorporated. John?
Yeah, so this one is just a renewal of a current licensing. We have moved the license count down. Originally, it was 500 licenses, but we've got it down. This is only used by the IT department in the back end now. So we only need the 19 licenses plus the 8 processor subscriptions. This is budgeted. It is coming under budget. As you can see, it's $2,970 total. Again, this has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Under G12, authorization of professional service agreement, related proposals with Langerman Foster. Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is a price schedule for materials testing on the Bullhide Creek Road project. The entire amount may not be actually invoiced. It's just to give us prices for their different services that they will provide, such as nuclear field density testing, doing some dirt analysis, and vehicle trip charges, stuff like that. So as they need to work on this project, these are the prices that they will invoice us for. The total amount not to exceed is $3,105, and this price schedule is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions for Zane? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with Langerman Foster?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Under G12B regarding construction materials testing, Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is very similar contract with Langerman Foster Engineering for materials testing. It's for a different project. It's for the North Crooked Creek Road Bridge project, as well as the Tonk Creek Road Bridge project. This is a list of prices for testing services and the estimated cost to complete not to exceed is $40,349.50. This price schedule has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, I'll make a motion, we approve that. Is
Second.
there a second? I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Thank you. And then, under G12C regarding the geotechnical service for Holy Road, crossing.
So this is for the Holy Road Low Water Crossing Project, where we are having 2 low water crossings designed on Holy Road in Precinct 3. This contract is for geotechnical services by Langerman Foster. They will complete 2 bores where they drill into the ground and collect samples of dirt and determine how the dirt strata beneath the ground is made up, and also determine the water level beneath the ground. The price for this work is $6,400, and their contract has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right,
Motion to approve the second proposal with Langerman Foster.
I have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under, thank you, James. Under G13, authorization service agreement with Motorola Solutions, David or Michael Graham?
Yes, this is an agreement for the radio tower equipment. This isn't for the actual handheld radios or in-car radios. This is the maintenance agreement and network monitoring for the system it's part of a tower project.
Okay. All right, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with Motorola?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion, second. Any discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under G14 is authorization of sale order agreement and service agreement with CTWP. And then Cinnamon?
The CPS, excuse me, CPS division of the DA's office has requested a new copier for the CPS office. This will be their first copier on site at that particular location. The new copier will be $8,910.98.
Okay, thank you. And then there's servicing agreement totaling $900 a year.
Correct.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with Motorola Solutions?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
That should have been CTWP.
Yeah, it sure, yeah, you're right.
Do what?
Well, in the notes, it said motion to approve agreement with Motorola, but actually it's an agreement with CTWP.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, sorry.
Let me see, I got that. That was,
So do we need to amend that?
Yeah, you need to rescind that and go back and do it right.
okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with CTWP for the copier for CPS division.
All right, and we need to rescind, you didn't say
Oh,
rescind.
And rescind the previous.
Yeah,
Okay.
and rescind it.
And rescind it.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve the agreement with CTWP and rescind the previous motion. It said Motorola.
Second.
And have a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. All right, under G15, authorization of a rental estimate agreement with Construction Edge Equipment LLC, Road and Bridge Precinct 1. Commissioner Smith?
Yes, sir. We're going to do some work over in the Burl area. And it's highly populated, and we're going to be working around mailboxes and some other structures. And we need a smaller piece of equipment that's more maneuverable. So this is for a rental of a skid steer.
Okay. All right, and so that's a motion?
Motion to approve, please.
All right, okay. I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under G16, authorization master service and purchasing agreement, quote from Axion Enterprise. Call on David.
Yes, this is the agreement with Axon for the TASER program that we've spoken to the court about previously. The pricing on this is going to be over a 5-year period, and it will show up in our capital outlay request year over year for that period of time. It's a total of $67,359.64 per year. And this will get us the devices, 75. There's a long list attached to the agenda if y'all want to look at that. It's a complete breakdown of all the individual items if y'all want to review that. But the total package is the replacing of the tasers for our patrol division downtown. That's 75 units in total, with all the associated training, cartridges, batteries, holsters, charging, decks, access systems, all that.
All right, any questions?
This gets us to current up-to-date tasers that are not outdated, and we're getting new tasers, right, David?
Correct, but I also want to be transparent with the court that these will not start getting deployed and coming in until February, March of 2024. So it's not going to be an instantaneous thing. It'll be something that we can complete this fiscal year, but it will be several months before we're able to do this.
Sure.
All right,
Understood.
okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under H, under capital improvements, repairs, maintenance, projects, and construction projects, H1 is regarding the capital improvement project for Cameron Park Zoo and with our agreement that we have. So Francis?
Yes, this is just the city's reimbursement request for the past month, totals $506,231.95. It has been reviewed, and we recommend it for payment. And it is coming, of course, out of the 2020 bond proceeds that were specifically issued for the zoo projects.
Sounds like that project's moving along,
getting
in
after it.
schedule, we've had a lot of dry weather.
If you get a chance, drive down Fifth Street. You
look
can really
back.
see the building coming along.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so, Francis recommends we pay this invoice, and so what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion, no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under H2 is regarding the Castleman Creek watershed, floodwater retaining structure site number 2, Zane?
Yes, sir. So the repairs on this soil and water conservation dam are underway, and the contractor Janet and Witten Construction LLC has submitted their first application for payment, and the invoice is for $53,736.94. Their pay request has been reviewed and it's recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the pay application?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion, no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under H4 is regarding the 415 Columbus Avenue site demolition proposal with Walker Partners.
Well, what about H3?
Did I miss one? Oh, okay, excuse me, let's go back to H3 regarding the sliding door control mechanism replacement Highway 6 jail. Call on TJ to convince us that we need to have doors that work out at the jail.
Something like that for sure. So you have before you a pay application from Cornerstone Detention. The total price of the pay app is $16,179. It is right in line with where they are scope wise. They should be finishing up the project in the next 2 weeks. So we'll go through the testing parameters and make sure everything works out. But this has been reviewed and ready for payment.
Okay, is anybody want to step out there and make sure the doors work at the jail?
What I have a question is though, is what, I mean, are y'all closing down wings as we do this, or, I mean, or how, is that how it's working?
Yes, sir. So we've separated out. You know, you've got 2 segregation areas over there. We've flowed everything over into one wing. We've got one wing isolated, and that's where all the work is taking place. Next year, or actually this year, probably after Christmas time, we'll start phase 2, which will be the secondary project to do the other half.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Good question.
Reading this, I was thinking about the movie James Garner, Support Your Local Sheriff, where they didn't have jail doors, and so that he just drew a line across the floor and told them don't step past that. That's not how we were handling this, TJ?
No,
Okay.
sir, I don't believe so. I wish
Okay.
we could live with
That's
that.
back when criminals were more honest.
All right.
All right, is there a motion to approve the pay application?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. H4 is regarding the 415 Columbus Avenue site demolition proposal. Cinnamon?
On November 1st, 2022, the court approved a scope and fee proposal from Walker Partners totaling $26,500 for engineering services related to the demolition of 415 Columbus Avenue site, which included creation of demolition plans, bidding, and administration. They submitted their invoice for September servicing totaling $350 for the bidding documents received, and the remaining balance for the project is $3,250.
All right, thank you. Any questions? If not, is there motion to approve the invoice for Walker Partners?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. It is 10:26 right now. And then when we come back, we'll go to our economic development report. Chris Collins.
or something like that, I mean, that's where he got his start doing
My
all that.
husband's best friend from high school.
Recording in progress.
Started working there in high school, and he's worked his way up. It's really amazing what they've done.
All right, it is 10:36. Took a little longer for the break than we thought. Call court back in session. All right, this time I'd like to go to the Economic Development Report. This would be under items M11. Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce Monthly Economic Development Report for September 2023. Morning, Chris.
Good morning. Well, thank y'all for having me in this morning to give this report. What you have before you is our monthly report for the month of September. When you look into it, our business attraction and engagement report gives a detailed overview of the activity that we've seen to date. But when we look at the attraction leads that we've seen to date, we've had 82 of those. And I would say that they're coming from a variety of places, not just the state of Texas and the office of the governor, but we're seeing direct company outreach, and we're seeing a lot of consultants that are knocking on our door as well, which is good. And it also just reiterates the importance of us building those relationships and the network that we communicate with both internally and then externally of the community. When we look at the proposals and responses submitted, we've sent 61 of those out the door as of the end of September. Those things fluctuate, and not every project that comes our way is a good fit for the community either. So sometimes we just say that we don't submit on everything. We look at the on-site attraction visits. We've had quite a few of those this year, and those have been a combination of both in-person and virtual visits. We will oftentimes have multiple visits virtually with the same company as we work through different phases of a project as they're going through their analysis of various communities. Our business retention visits to date, we're at 60, but I will tell you that Lexi knocked it out of the park for the month of October. So we're right on pace for hitting that 100 goal for the year. But again, the importance of those visits, I can't reiterate enough about being there in front of our existing companies and letting them know that we support their operations just as much as the new guy coming into the community. And so if you're able to join and you get those invitations, please make time for that, because it does mean a lot to those companies.
Chris, I know that Lexi invites us on a visitor retention visit. And, we don't go to that many of them, but when you see something that's really important for us to even, maybe reschedule whatever we've got a conflict with, if it's that important, please, you and Lexi tell us that.
We'll absolutely do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
From those visits, and then just from our relationships, we'll oftentimes get requests from businesses for some additional help. So with those business assistance requests, we get those and try to coordinate. We serve as the conduit, so we may not be able to fix your pothole that's in your street, but we certainly know who to reach out to help make that happen. And so we serve as the coordinator to make sure that we're helping to maintain as positive a business environment as we possibly can. And then when we look at the marketing and trade shows events, we still are going out of the market. We try to couple those things. If we're doing a trade show in a large major area, we might go and visit with site consultants when we're in that same community, trying to leverage the dollars that we have to the best of our ability and leverage the time that we have outside of market. Do have a couple of new projects that we're working on too, and I would just say that we continue to have an interest with foreign direct investment opportunities, and so that's been a good way to leverage the existing companies that we've been successful in helping to land in our community, and helping to tell the story of why this is a great place for international businesses to land. When we look at the overall level of activity, we're still pushing strong. This is going to be a good year for us. in the investment number and the level of square footage and all those things that are being announced. But I would say that 2024 is on task to be a very positive year for us too. And the timing of these project announcements always varies. It's really driven by the client, although we would love to be able to get everything across the finish line as quickly as we possibly can. Oftentimes, it's their company that is driving those decisions of when things become public. But just stay tuned because there continues to be a lot of interest in the Central Texas region. And I would say that, there's a lot of activity that's happening to the south of us. And as a result of that, that has pushed pressures on pricing of a lot of things, pricing of land, pricing of housing, and it's put a lot of pressure on the labor market to the south too. And as a result, you see people that are actively saying, we like to be in proximity, but we need to be outside of that southern central Texas marketplace because we just can't find the people or we can't afford to be there. And so that makes our Central Texas region a really attractive place for those folks that need proximity but don't have to be right across the street from some of those businesses. So that's been good for us, and I think we're going to continue to see that because what comes with that is also high-paying jobs. There's a strong supplier network that builds with that, and it just makes us a really good place for new opportunities to come into the market too. So that I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all might have about what's happening. We're still pushing forward really strongly with our Talent and Workforce Initiative, bringing together that group later this month for the next steps of work. But Tiffany has done a really good job of bringing the group together and helping to come with very concise goals and achievable tasks for everyone to take on, but doing it in a way where we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not asking people to come up with a new strategic plan. We're asking people to look at your own strategic plan and what are the actionable items that are alike across the board where we can all take action and move the needle forward when it comes to helping to create a strong workforce now and into the future. So she'll be visiting soon to give an update. So with that next quarterly report that she does.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any questions for Chris? Chris, one of the things that is a kind of a side piece to economic development is housing and transportation, public transportation. In the public transportation side of it, I don't know for sure whether we're structured to benefit economic development. In other words, are we going to the right places? In other words, is our structure for rural transportation and all of our different public transportation pieces, are they on the right routes or on the right times? And, what do we need to do to modify what we're doing? So the start of that would be for the economic development folks to understand what the structure is to transportation now and where the gaps are. And so, and I don't know where they are. I just know that the ridership and all, even though it's gradually increased, I don't know that it's met its potential. And I know in talking to Heather Travers about people going for healthcare visits and those kind of things, that the vouchers and all really aren't utilized as much as we thought they'd be. So, so moving forward, I think that we will be asking, and maybe Hot Cog as well, on the base of transportation that they manage, is what are we doing it the right way to really help folks get to jobs, and I know there's another piece in there too called childcare.
Yep.
Too. There's just a lot of things that we have to look at, but maybe transportation would be one that over this next year that we can analyze that and help the folks that are working on transportation to modify it to be more efficient.
Yep.
So
That'd be great. We would love to be a part of that because, you know, any opportunity we have to help get people to jobs
Yeah.
and to the amenities that they need, we definitely want to take advantage of that.
When you see a 16-passenger bus go with 2 people on it, that's not efficient.
Right.
And so it tells me that we're not going to the right place. We couldn't load the bus because we're not going to the place that has the highest demand.
Right.
So that's
Or the
just,
people don't know that the bus is available to take them to the places.
and that could be it too.
Yeah.
Public information might be the problem.
All right.
All right, any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve Chris's report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, going to items I under budget amendments, transfers, changes, additional revenue, certifications, expense request under I-1 regarding the FY '23 budget. Francis?
Yes, so we still, of course, have some cleanup budget amendments for FY '23, so I will go through those first. So FI 1A, this is general fund for the county judge's department, moving within that department to increase professional development to pay the remainder of a reimbursement request. I 1B, this is general fund constable precinct 4. We're needing to increase the telephone line in that department for cell phone cost for the end of the year. Again, moving within that department. I-1C, this is Fund 418. This is our venue project fund. So there were 2 expenses that have been incurred related to venue project property at the fairgrounds. One is a dust control service that was provided by Waco Paving. And then the other invoice is a cabling invoice for the fiber optic lines that were run to the base facility. So of course, that is within that venue project fund. At I-1D, this is Fund 419. This is our 2019 bond, and this is to increase the communications tower project just from within that fund. The costs are related to our consultant services. We had originally budgeted this, but we were under the impression the project was complete, so we had cleared out that budget. So we're just moving funds back in for the last 3 months' invoices. I-1E, this is general fund health services. We're needing to increase the other services and charges line by a small amount, and then increase the indigent healthcare line and the pauper burials just to complete the year through September 30th. We are moving the majority of it from another line within the general fund in the indigent defense department. So there were excess funds in a different department to accommodate those increases. I-1F, this is general fund, indigent defense. So we do this at the end of each year. We clean up the indigent defense department. It's very hard to know where all the indigent defense cost will land between each court. And so in total, we are good budget-wise, but we just need to clean up the lines. So we're just moving from some lines that had excess budget into lines that had exceeded their individual budgets. I-1G, this is general fund for IT, just needing to increase the repair and maintenance line for a maintenance contract for a copier, moving within that department to increase the needed line. I-1H, this is general fund JP precinct 3, just needing to move within that department to other services and charges. So that, do you want to take those? That's the 23 budget amendments under I-1.
All right, is there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve I-1A through I-1H?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under items I-2 regarding the FY '24 budget.
So just to start off, we're going to go ahead and pull with no action item I-2A. So I'll start with item I2B. This is in the Justice Court Building Security Fund, so Special Revenue Fund. JP3 is needing a monitor to use with their security camera system. So quote is attached. IT has been involved in that process. And so this is increasing that line needed for the purchase of that monitor from contingencies in that.
So this
special
was part of that addition of the security cameras of
Yes, and I believe the monitor they had stopped working. Tim, did you remember, was there some, I think this is.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yes, but it does go, yes,
It
it
went with
connects
that
to
bid.
their
Okay.
whole security system.
Okay.
And then appropriate use of that fund. And then I2C1, this is in Fund 421, bond proceeds from 2021. This is to increase the ADA modifications line for the Road and Bridge 2 building, so additional cost needed there. And then I2C2, also in Fund 421, our 2021 bond proceeds. This budget amendment is needed to cover quotes related to the Road and Bridge 3 tower project. So that concludes the budget amendments for 2024.
All right, any questions on those? All right, under I2A, it's pulled with no action, and then is there a motion to approve I2B, C,
and C.
and D? No, we didn't do
Just-
D.
We haven't
so
done D yet.
Just do C.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you. All right, under I2D, McLennan County 911 Service Assistance, Dustin?
Yes, sir. Pursuant to the Health and Safety Code, the Emergency Assistance District is to provide the entities with a copy of their adopted budget. So they have provided that to us. It's in your packet, and we just need a motion to accept that for recording.
All right.
Motion to accept for recording.
Second.
All right, motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Under I2E, Tax Assessor and Collector, recording of estimated special inventory tax fund budget for FY '24. Francis?
And this is just to record that budget for the special inventory tax fund for the tax assessor collector for 2024.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Under J is real estate and right of way. We have nothing. Under K is grants and grant proposals. Under K1 is regarding the U.S. Department of Treasury, ARPA funding. Dustin?
Yes, sir. So this is our general ARPA discussion. I did want to point out that Zane, Mike, Francis, and I were on a call with Orbis a couple weeks ago. There has been a change in some of the interim guidance that makes some bridge projects allowable. And so we are researching and working through that now with Zane's help and with Orbis to identify some projects. So we might be able to repurpose some of those funds we had set aside for the low water crossings and be able to do those on bridge projects. Just wanted to make the court aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
And then
All right.
K1A, oh, sorry, Judge.
No, go right ahead.
K1A is regarding the thermal camera project, authorization of additional ARPA funding. Sheriff's Office is requesting additional $3,619.44 to cover wiring and harnesses needed to complete this project.
Okay, with as much money as we've got invested in it, it sounds like $3,619 to get it going. Sounds like a good deal. I'll make a motion we approve that.
Second.
Second.
Have motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right.
K1B is regarding the professional services agreement with BKD Forvis, authorization of grant administration invoice through October 15th. This totals $7,201.09 for their services. It has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Have motion second. Any other discussion? My only discussion is be sure we get our money's worth there, Dustin. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
K2 is the bipartisan infrastructure law discussion. We're still in discussions with Forvis on their services, and then have also reached out to some of the other grant firms as well. So hope to have an update on that in the coming weeks.
All right.
And K3 is regarding the Bureau of Justice Assistance Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program acceptance of FY23 grant award. Back in May, we approved the submission of this grant application. We've been notified that we've been awarded $1,785.77 and just need a motion to accept that grant award.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept that grant award. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion?
I was just wondering, real quickly, how much do we spend total on bulletproof vest?
You know, I think we submitted, our application was probably somewhere between $30,000 or $40,000 in number of vests. Each vest is about $800 to $900 per vest, and then as they cycle out. But
Right.
I believe it was a large application this year.
That's about 2 vests worth right there.
Yes, sir.
And I can extract the data and I'll send it out on how much we actually spend on bulletproof vests.
Okay, thank
and
you.
Other safety.
All right, we have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
K4 is regarding the Office of the Governor, Criminal Justice Division, Specialty Courts Grant Program, acceptance of grant award from McLennan County DWI Drug Court. Back in February, the court approved the submission of this grant application. We've been notified that we've been awarded a grant totaling $188,879.50 and will be used for professional services, personnel, supplies, operating costs, and travel and training related to the program.
Have we received this grant before?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we have, okay. All right, is there a motion to approve grant award?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
K5 is regarding the Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart Grant, short form of agreement with LAN, authorization of invoice number 18. This invoice totals $18,924 for services related to the Water Smart Grant, and it is recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions?
Question. Where it says percent complete, 100%, 100%, does that mean we've completed all the, they've completed their contractual agreement with us?
I believe it is totally complete, and I know Francis, I think this is the one that y'all were on a call with the Bureau of Reclamation, so you may have more to add.
Yes, as far as I know, this closes out that project, that single grant through the Water Smart program. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any questions? Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And then under K6, Cinnamon, I'll kind of step through these and then you add anything that you need to, please. K6 is regarding the Texas Community Development Block Grant, bid 23-021 for Elmont Sewer Improvements at Leroy Parkway. On October 31st, the court approved the recommendation by purchasing to award the bid to No Dig Tech LLC. K6A is authorization of the agreement with No Dig Tech. K6B is approval of notice of award. And then K6C is approval of resolution for commitment of additional funds by McLennan County Water Control and Improvement District Number 2. So the bid came in $11,245 over the grant, but Elmont WCID number 2 has agreed to cover that cost, and so we just need a motion to approve K6A through K6C.
So a motion to approve K6A, B, and C.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right.
All right, Judge, you want me to keep going or do you want to do it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, under item L, Department Office Specific Requests, L1 is purchasing authorization of online auction with Renee Bates, related ad in order declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing the disposition of same. Sentiment?
Okay. Purchasing is requesting the approval of the following for auction. 18 lots prepared for the online auction with Renee Bates, scheduled beginning November 13th, 2023, and closes November 27th, 2023. It'd be purchasing, well, for auction, it'd be one lot of miscellaneous IT items, lot of miscellaneous toners, different scanners, smartphones, toners, law books, and office supplies. At the Cobb's surplus building, lots of chairs, file cabinets, miscellaneous furniture, copier, and a smart board. At the Extraco Event Center, one lot of miscellaneous sound equipment. And then at the Highway 6 Jail, one lot of emergency restraint chairs. The ad regarding auction to run in the Waco Tribune Herald, November 13th, November 20th, and November 27th of 2023. Order declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing disposition of the same.
Okay, any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve L1?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
L2 is Road and Bridge Precinct 3, authorization of temporary location of state vehicle at precinct facility. Commissioner Jones?
So the Texas Boll Weevil project out of Texas A&M is conducting an eradication and identification program in a 7-county territory, with the field manager being based in West. The program requires that the vehicle belong to the state be parked in a secured location every night, as the truck is not permitted to be parked at a residence. They're requesting permission to park the truck at the Precinct 3 Road and Bridge barn behind the locked gates. If approved, Road and Bridge Precinct 3 will request they provide their own lock, which will be about the 6th or 7th lock on the gate, at the Precinct 3 yard to allow their field manager access to his work. And so I believe this has been looked over by legal, and I would make a motion that we let them park the truck at our yard.
All right, I'll second that. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve? We've got a motion second. Is all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Right, under item M, additional items, M1 is the discussion and interaction regarding the courthouse Christmas lighting ceremony. M1A is approval of order for acceptance of monetary donations. M1B, authorization ratification of purchases for the Christmas event. And M1C is authorization of quotation estimates or contracts for the courthouse Christmas event. TJ or Francis?
So it's pretty self-explanatory what you have in front of you. So just the monetary donations that have come in, the money that has gone out for the supplies and surplus needed for the breakfast benefits, and then some of the contracts that we're looking at for the Christmas event itself. We have a bunch more contracts that should come in the next 2 weeks or so, so we'll get those on the court agenda as well. But these are just some of the things that we're looking at.
All right, thank you. All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve M1A through M1C.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thanks, everyone.
All right, move.
Volunteering working on this too.
You bet.
All right, go ahead.
Moving down to item M3, discussion and interaction regarding retired patrol vehicle requests for Mart Volunteer Fire Department. Mart VFD is requesting to either purchase or have a vehicle be donated to them. They're looking for a retired patrol vehicle from the sheriff's office. I visited with Captain Nixon about this last week, and he's looking at the fleet to find a suitable vehicle for this request, and this is something that we would be allowed to do under the law. And so if we want to move forward with it, just as soon as the sheriff's office identifies that vehicle, we'll have to bring an order to the commissioner's court spelling out that donation, but we can hopefully do that next court session.
Okay.
So it's legal to donate?
It is to a civic or a charitable organization. There are some findings that the commissioner's court has to make, but we would work up that order. But yes, sir.
And then I'd like, when we get to that point, for maybe Mike to discuss precedent
That's my issue, is if we give it to one, we're gonna be giving it to all. So I'd rather sell it, even if it's,
For a nominal
Yeah.
amount, just something that, it worries me, the precedent.
so what is that? What's that '03 worth with 230,000 miles? Is it worth about $5,000 or something like those things keep their value pretty well, so
Yeah, maybe.
5,000 or 6,000, something like that.
They got an auction, you never know.
Yeah.
But you take everything off of it, right?
We generally do go into another emergency responder. We could leave the lights on, but take off the cage and everything out.
They're allowed to run the same color combination lights? Okay.
Well, okay, so we'll talk more about it, and, it won't be utilized much, but it does need to be dependable, so we'll look at all that. All right, so I guess, in that regard, we would,
Move to defer.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to defer. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M4 is Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool, authorization of liability coverage renewal and related invoice. This is for the public officials liability, law enforcement liability, general liability, auto liability, and auto physical damage. It totals $603,427. Last year's total was $569,161, and so this increase does appear to be in line with kind of the industry standard that we're seeing.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve, the liability coverage renewal?
So moved.
Second?
Motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, dropping down to M6, discussion and or action regarding the Commissioners Court retreat. Judge, did you want to discuss this?
Yeah, I just thought, and I don't think we've done this before, but, a lot of courts do, and as well as municipality councils and all, that we can, have a retreat, with, of course, posted, and discuss, numerous items in there. But in my thought, that you may not get them all talked about in the first retreat, and that you could, on the conclusion of that first meeting, you can decide what you want, if you want to meet again, and what would be the agenda items that you would push out to the next, or come up with, in items previously discussed that needed more research, to bring that research back at that time. So that would be the purpose of it. These items that are mentioned here, road and bridge, HR items, auditor budget recap, fair venue, kind of what's venue tax revenue trends, and then the space group talk about downtown jail and other items pertaining to space allocation for our county offices and functions. Any,
And when's that scheduled?
let's see.
Next Tuesday?
It's next
Tuesday, the 14th. And Judge, did we want to talk about the start time, either 9 or 10 a.m.?
Yeah, so if we, it's 9, and you would have numerous hours before lunch, we would have lunch provided, and then meet as long as we need to after lunch. We may not need to meet very long after lunch. If we start at 9, at 10, we're more apt to have more time after lunch to discuss. So, any ideas on start time?
We got no problem, 9 start time. That's
Okay.
fine with me.
That sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
9 start time's fine.
9 o'clock, and location, Justin?
At the Back Porch Club at the Exco Event Center.
Okay. All right.
There weren't any rooms available at the
Base.
base?
No, they were booked.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. So,
All right, I don't think any action's needed on that, so we will be posting an agenda, like Judge said. It, as being a work session, there's not the requirement to have it recorded, but we will be posting an agenda for it for next Tuesday. M7 is regarding the McLennan County Appraisal District 2024 Board of Directors, authorizations regarding board member selections and related resolution/ballot. I believe this is due back by December 14th. So, Judge, I'm sure you'd like for the whole court to be involved.
I would, so I'd make a motion that we defer till the next meeting.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M8 is regarding the United Healthcare Life Insurance Renewal Authorization of a revised rate. Anna?
Yes, I have here just a correction that I wanted to present to court and be sure that it was on record. I previously presented on October 3rd the life rate change to life insurance offered to retirees, and that there was an increase to those rates. So I incorrectly listed the same rate for the age range of 75 to 79. So that needs to be updated to the actual increased rate. So from $4.59 to $5.31 per month is what the rate should be.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving down to item M10, authorization regarding participation in the 2023 Food for Families Food Drive Competition. I know for the past several years, the county has participated as a whole. I'm thinking this year is that it might be better to just continue to let individual departments participate as they see fit, and maybe not have participate as one organization. I know Chrissy has had some thoughts on that and has shared some information that's in the notes.
I think it makes sense. We have about half of the department's offices participate, and I think that will continue. Tremendous amount of work on just very few individuals, burden on maintenance of buildings to help us move all that stuff. And this frees up our people and still allows us to participate as much as we have in the past. So that's my thought.
All right. Any other thoughts? All right.
So, Judge, we can just mark that as pulled with no action.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
All right, moving on to item N, Americans with Disabilities Compliance Project. N1 is authorization of professional services invoice with CP&Y doing business as STV. N1A is regarding the ADA study for September. Invoice totals $2,682.50 and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
N1B is regarding records building ADA renovations for September, invoice number 7. This invoice totals $8,697 and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
N2 is regarding recording of use agreements for repairs projects on future vote centers. And I know we've discussed this several times, but before you today is recording the use agreements with First Baptist Church of Golson, Unwavering Faith Christian Church, and Central United Methodist Church. We just need a motion to accept those for recording purposes.
All right.
Motion to approve for recording purposes.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Have nothing under item O. Under item P, McLennan County Radio Tower Project. P1s regarding the system purchase agreement with Motorola Solutions, recording a project milestone certification of completion. This is for Road and Bridge Precinct 4, and it's the Precinct 4 cutover and beneficial use and the warranty begin date. And it is recommended we just need to accept it for recording. Sorry.
All right. I'll make a motion. We accept it for recording purposes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Judge, I believe that's all the action items.
All right. Is there anything else to come before the court today?
I tell you, the one thing we should put on that, on our work session, on our retreat is the eclipse.
Okay.
I think that's.
Yeah, good point. Excellent point.
It's gonna take some.
Excellent point.
Okay. We'll do that. If there's not anything else to come before the court, we will stand adjourned. I've got 11:15.